So yeah, as you can see on screen, the narrative was really impressive. It was like a full-on story to play through. So despite the fact that it was a lot of like outsourced assets were utilized, I think it's about what was great is how it was put together. You know, how did you make use of what was at your disposal? Because when you think about it in commercial world, if this person was directing a narrative FPS puzzle game at their disposal, they might have a team with a skill set to then tailor all the content rather than outsourcing it. So it's not so much different other than you have more direction over what content is actually going into the game.
Yeah, for sure. As I'm almost like transfixed watching it again because I found it really engaging. Yeah, how far through did you get? Did you make it to the end when you were playing?
Yes.
I can't quite remember where I ended up. So yeah.
And having to wait a little bit, so it might have just been not even a design decision, but it just worked out because yeah. So as we can see on screen, the goal being complete, which is to be fair, it wasn't clear to me at first as well with the goal, and it was still enjoyable. I think because of just the whole feedback and the fact that the fish, they don't just disappear and appear in your equipment. You actually have the speed like go through, so that adds onto the responsiveness, and you can sprint around in water, chase them about. There is different kinds of them. There is a puffer fish as well, which blows the other fish around it.
Great feature.
Yeah.
Great addition. And yeah, I honestly, just collecting them alone is a good time. So having that additional bit of gameplay, I just think it's really neat. I think there's something to work with here, and yeah, definitely a commercial.
Global Game Jam page of the game, and so that the game doesn't really end ever. I was curious if it's gonna keep ramping up, but you can imagine if that's how enjoyable the base of the title was. Imagine different enemies, imagine different levels, imagine different ammo other than the beans, maybe different type of ammo, different type of beans, you know. Maybe they shoot faster, but they drain quicker as well, so
yeah, and even like the audio of this game, I was tapping my foot a long time and I was tense and just really enjoying it. And as you mentioned before, kind of the happiness bar, there's like really nice incentive to keep playing. It's got like a strong narrative, and Dr. Beansworth has a reason to be running around going about his business with the cops, and so that was really nice to kind of have that to tie it in, and there's like a strong character.
With some polish up, you know, this could be a really great title, because like as we know, the visuals can be further developed and so can be the technical aspect, but a lot of the technical aspect is already there. So if you think about it, you can add on levels on top of it, you can add on weapons because you have the infrastructure for a weapon in game already, as you have a few. So and there was only one projectile weapon also, so that's an area that can be expanded. Was there anything in the game that you personally found that impressed you, that you didn't expect from it at first glance?
Again, the voices, but also like being able to change your weapons. I mean, like here he's got a frying pan with an egg in it, which is really fun. And so like having all those kind of custom elements and features, I really enjoyed. And I was just kind of swapping them around for fun sometimes, not even to be able to defeat the cats, but sometimes just to kind of test them out and play around. And I thought that was really nice.
Not sure about the visual design direction, but in a strange way it worked, because you have so much of this like odd creative design in there that makes you go like, yeah, no, it fits in, it makes sense. Huge UI that's made out of paper stuck on screen, it fits the theme, you know. Yeah.
It's a weird mystical world. It's got a little bit of Rainbow Road about it, and there's some kind of like characters in the background. There's some legs here that you can see on screen, and so yeah, I guess if you had turned into a ball, this is maybe where you would end up. So it fits. I would say at first I thought that maybe it was speeding up as you were collecting your beans, and that the more beans you had, the faster it got. But actually, the game just speeds up by itself. So that doesn't really have impact on that, and it builds, it gets more tense the faster it gets. So at this point, you're probably like panicking and going a lot quicker and trying to stay on, which is really fun.
And you know, if you are willing to go that extra mile in 48 hours, I said this before, but imagine a few weeks, you know, and you never know like how far could you actually take a title. So yeah, Tranzfuser can let you find out. What did you find the most impressive about the title? What do you think for you made it onto the highlight list?
Kind of pulling from what you'd said there with the various stages, it was progressing, and you could see how the game would expand, and I think that was impressive. And even as you're in the pram at the beginning, and then going into the rocket, you're like, oh god, you don't know where I'm going, and the whole environment and the style of not the style, but the way that you move through the game changes, and that was really exciting for, like you say, a game that was put together so quickly. So having different levels was really impressive for me.
And the game, despite being cheeky towards the player, it made sense. It worked, and it was quite humorous. So with this one, I would say for me, the whole full of beans diversifier, there are literal beans in the game, but for me, it came from, you know, being kind of on the edge and not knowing when, a platform is falling onto spikes, great. When are there gonna be spikes coming out of the floor, you know? So you're always like, as soon as you have the first spikes come out of the ground at random, any step, you're like, I don't know about that coin over there. It could kill me, you know? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, that kind of unpredictable quality was like both really fun and also frustrating. For me, I was kind of like playing lots of times and dying lots of times, but that's, like you said, that's kind of like the charm of it, because you want to be able to defeat the beast that is the game.
It's really simple, but within our team at Tranzfuser, we had a blast playing it, and there is a competitive aspect to it, which really added on.
Yeah, so as you can see here, we were having a great time from the get-go, just kind of getting used to the controls, and you yourself play the music and you have to try and catch the notes in time, but the music is like out of key and it's all off kilter and it's just chaotic, and we loved it. Yeah, and we were quite competitive because we hadn't had that many multiplayers within our like highlighted 10, so it was really fun to go back and play this again and have something that we could do together. The beans, I feel like, are quite disturbing in a way. They've got an interesting look about them, but the Diversifier is there nonetheless. It's got its own thing going on for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't quite grasp it initially because it does have that kind of quick game board feel, and you can see it's a nice touch that you can click through the elevator buttons. Really enjoyed that. It's very like simple setting, but really worked. But we ended up howling with laughter by the end. We played it between three of us, and we did various rounds. It's kind of gets you thinking quite quickly, and as I said before, you can change the amount of time that you're pitching for. So depending on who you are, maybe your age, you can adjust that, and that means that it's more accessible for a wider audience. So you can see here the topics get revealed as you're pitching. So the timer is going down, and then step by step you pull off the cards, and you have to shoehorn that word into your pitch. So for instance, this one is about a concealer, and we had a really good time. You could do this in all kinds of settings.
The answer ends up being, because you can actually combo like even 3 milks together. If the answer turns out being 3 milks in a kettle of water, I'll accept it. I just would like to know, is there a solution to the game? But yeah, with that in mind, that kind of goes to show you that I tried it a lot because I wanted to find a solution, meaning like it was quite fun, you know. I wanted to engage with it to like almost like crack the code. I felt like I was hacking into the mainframe in a sort of trying to do some detective work, maybe clicking on the nun, seeing if she can guide the player in any way. But yeah.
Yeah, there's some really nice sounds as you're clicking around as well, and you can hear the dev's voice again, which I loved. Really brought out the character of the game. And as you're saying, like maybe the combination is just some hot water and an empty mug, who knows? But we kept going.